So step off is at 11 tomorrow?
Step off is 11 tomorrow at Bessie Park.
Bessie.
Go. All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the November 10th, 2009 Board of Selectmen meeting. Mr. Clerk, could we have the roll, please?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. 4 selectmen present this evening. Mrs. Donahue is away. Present also is Mr. Sanjanet.
Thank you. Okay, the first order of business is citizens' participation. By show of hands, who would like to speak to the board tonight? 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on up, sir.
Good evening, everybody. Larry Gaines, Council on Aging, Social Services. Tonight I'm here to appeal to the citizenship of Wareham. I've been here a few times requesting support for different events that we've had. This is the last one that we can have this year to raise money for the Social Services Department to take care of those families that are in need. And believe me, there are more and more every week coming into our building. People losing their homes, getting thrown out, disasters, all kinds of things. So this is our last shot to raise some money until the end of the year. We just came off a successful Salerno's event. We got $700 for that. And if we can make this a total success, possibly get $1,500 to $1,600 for this department. So all I'm doing is appealing to everybody in town, sort of dig a little deep. If you can't come, send a donation of $25. Either way, we can use all the help we can get. And it'll be a great night because we've got these posters all over town. Mike Dutra, a very well-known entertainer. There's a dinner. There's raffles. It'll be a fun night, and at the same time, you're going to help a lot of people in need. And thank you very much for your time.
Larry, is there a number that people can get in touch with you about this?
508-295-7595. It's on all the posters, and it also could be, they can call into the Council on Aging. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, who's next?
Good evening. Lynn Burrows, 13 War Ave. 3 things. The first is I want to thank you all for sticking through this. Every single one of you sitting at that table. This is a real tough time for the town. And although I can't speak for everybody, I appreciate all of you more than I think you can really imagine. And I thank you for your service and your future service and your future headaches. I would like to ask that the toilet on Main Street is removed tomorrow. This town is not a toilet. It's time for it to be gone. It's been there since the night of town meeting, and it's time for it to be removed.
Mr. Sanjanet, can you take care of that, please?
Thank you.
Thank you.
And at this time, I'd also like to ask that tonight, Selectmen, you consider doing a full forensic audit of the library. Personally, I think the whole town needs to be done, but I believe that's where we're at the moment in light of things that are going on. So thank you for the opportunity to speak. Once again, thank you for your service, and God bless you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Joan Goldfarb, and I just wanted to try and get some sort of an update from hopefully the people that know what is going on with Swift's Beach and where we are at. I've asked many people, many different things, and nobody seems to have an answer. It just keeps saying this takes time. I noticed at the meeting last week, it appears as though the Barker property seems to be moving on and Swift's Beach seems to be stagnant, or if something is happening, we're not aware of it. So I guess that's what I'm looking for. When can we expect the conservation restriction on Swift's Beach?
Well, The problem with the question, there's no problem with the question. The problem with the answer is that this board has no authority or control over conservation restrictions. That's strictly the purview or the jurisdiction, if you will, of the Community Preservation Committee. And I guess my suggestion would be that you attend one of their meetings, and that would be an appropriate question for them, because I am not aware, and I don't know if the board has any further or additional information, but we certainly haven't been provided any on that issue. Unless somebody else has other comments. Go ahead.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, the Barker property or the Great Neck restrictions, those ones go much quicker because they're private. They already have someone to hold the restriction. It's private property, so they're working together. We had tried to get a couple of people to hold the restriction. Either they were pressured to decline, or they thought it was too much of a feat for them to handle it. Even though the town takes care of it, their attitude was, well, what if the town doesn't take care of it? We're not capable of taking care of it. I know that they are working with a group right now. They did have a draft for the restriction, and the last I had heard, which was probably about a couple of months ago, was that I had asked them if I could get to sit down with that group and Community Preservation, and because I'm the liaison to Community Preservation, and sit down and try to hammer out that. We have not yet received a response from the trust that we're hoping will hold it. But a lot of times there's pressure that's put on them from outside sources that intimidate these small nonprofits that are open space, based, that they sometimes don't want to get in the middle of stuff. So there is that political issue as well. But as everyone has been saying, it does take time, and especially when you're not quite sure who's going to hold it.
Is the person now, or the group now being considering holding it, the same group that had agreed to do it a year ago? Because that was it was a town meeting last year that I think it was Nancy had mentioned that they now have somebody that had agreed to it, and it just seems an incredibly long length of time.
Yeah.
And
well,
I know there's a lot going on.
I know that there was one, and honestly I can't remember, but I know that there was one, and a question was posed to Community Preservation is, well, if they don't do it, who's the next one you're going to go to? In other words, we're going to, put the information, and there has been information that's been, sent and things like that has been, monumental for volunteers of the Community Preservation to try to deal with and stuff, and that's why I had asked that perhaps if we could sit down together. I can check with Community Preservation. I can call you if you want to leave me a number.
That. I will.
Okay.
I'll be glad to. And to just reiterate what Lynn said, I thank you all for the job that you do. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Jane.
And who was the last? The gentleman in the back.
Good evening. Steve Holmes from Onset.
Mr. Holmes.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, two things real quick. The first is hopefully at some point when you get into your announcements, and maybe you could have a moment of silence today for those 13 soldiers that were killed. I don't know if you caught the memorial service today, but it was just heart-wrenching to see those families there. One of the young soldiers was actually pregnant at the time that she was killed. So if we could maybe take a moment after and do that.
I was going to actually do that tomorrow at the Memorial Day,
Okay.
but I don't see any reason why we can't honor with a moment of silence. I think it's appropriate.